So yeah, we're going to be talking about Bob Dylan and A Complete Unknown, the new biopic. I'm Tom Scioli, author of Fantastic Four Grand Design, which is in stores now, and Godzilla's Monsterpiece Theater.
I'm Matt Zeoli.
So yeah, Matt, I saw A Complete Unknown and I loved it. I was like, after that, I was singing in Bob Dylan voice, like,
and 20 miles out of town, cold iron's bound.
The one I kept singing was, I'm not gonna work on Maggie's farm no more. Like I'm driving everybody crazy. Just out of nowhere, I'm not gonna work on Maggie's farm no more.
I had like, his eras of like, he's like changes his like singing over the years too. So you get like different eras of his kind of crazy singing, which is awesome. Like I had like an idea for like some sketch where like Bob and his brother ordering at a restaurant and he's ordering and he's like and his brother who's dressed just like orders for him.
Well, yeah, and now like the like that kind of thing. Like George Harrison is such a huge Bob Dylan fan, and he would talk about how like he's like Bob's got it figured out. Like, yeah, if you're gonna go on tour, just and sing night after night, you got to do something with your voice to like save it. So he's like, maybe I'll do that.
Yeah. I did get to see Bob Dylan twice.
That's amazing. Where and when and what was it like?
So I went with my buddy Andrew. I saw him twice in Ohio.
Okay.
About 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. They in quick succession. It feels like. Once in Canton, Ohio, which is really cool. It was like at this like almost like a huge VFW kind of thing. There was like metal folding seats.
Wow.
And it was all in like one level in like
that sounds like that sounds like that would be like a Dylan video.
It was awesome. And then I saw him at the University of Akron, and it was in like a really cool like, I don't know, maybe some famous architect designed it, like really nice, beautiful, like mid-century looking theater. And after the second one, maybe, or I can't remember which show, but we waited. We tried to see him, so we were like loitering, like.
I know what you guys are up to.
We were joking around, like we went behind the theater to where like people were coming out and his bus was there.
Yeah.
And we hung out. Andrew, correct me if I'm wrong. I think like maybe over an hour, like hanging out by the bus.
Hey, why don't you guys come on in?
That's
you look cool out there.
Yeah. He's like, come on in and warm up. And he's got like a bottle or something. Yeah. But we saw like
this pud is just getting stuck. This joint isn't gonna smoke itself. Guys, come on in.
It's like this long. He's like, come on in. And I think I know why they didn't invite me in. I had a copy of The Catcher in the Rye on me, and like the John Lennon album. That's what they were.
I was kind of doing the same thing at the Brian Wilson concert in Greensburg.
Oh yeah,
not too far from me, because that place it's like a university or something. Like I'm not sure where they have.
Was
a lot
it the
of
Palace?
Shows. That might have been it. And it's like it's kind of like a smaller venue and stuff, and like you could see it's kind of circular too, so you could kind of see around the bend and you could sort of see through the door. And it's like, oh yeah, there's Brian Wilson in there. How was Dylan when you heard?
He was great. He was dressed like a train conductor, and he had the same band almost for both shows because they were like far apart but weren't that close.
Yeah,
but well,
sometimes they use guys who are like local, it's a big production. Sometimes it'll be, they'll recruit local players.
And it was great. Like, I played Cold Iron's Bound. They played Like a Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know if he plays that anymore,
I got to hear that, and I was trying to look back through. I'm going to do more digging. I kind of like just did a cursory search, but wanted to see like, everyone tracks set lists from concerts, so I wanted to like try to look those up and see what they played.
Yeah. Everybody must get stoned. I was like listening to him. I was listening to his first album. It's like traditionals that he's singing. One of them's Man of Constant Sorrow.
Oh yeah.
Which was became like huge from Oh Brother Where Art Thou.
Coen brothers.
Yeah, the Coen brothers. And I was thinking, because Inside Llewyn Davis is kind of that, it's kind of that Bob Dylan world. And Llewyn Davis almost like, he could become Bob Dylan, but he's getting in his own way, kind of, and stuff. But it made me think like, oh yeah, like the Coen brothers, they're probably huge Dylan fans, and so then pulling Man of Constant Sorrow, and that first Dylan album kind of, it kind of seems sort of like the Inside Llewyn Davis album that's like in the movie. Again, I'm getting all these references like all these years later,
after
from
the fact,
being like a little more familiar with
Bob Dylan in the movie. Chalamet bumps into Llewyn Davis on the street. When I saw that they were making his biopic, I started listening through his discography and went down a huge I took it to the limit. I had never done something like this before.
Yeah, well, I mean, that first album was a real treat. Like that, like I'd never heard any of that stuff, but like, yeah, Man of Constant Sorrow, like it was a good album. I
did Free Will and Bob Dylan, Times They Are Changing, another side of Bob Dylan, like his early section. But then I really love his electric.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, like it's funny because like I'd always heard because again, like I was always a Beatles fan. Like I was kind of like a fan of everybody but Bob Dylan.
Me too.
Like I liked Simon and Garfunkel, but not Dylan.
Me too.
I liked Billy Joel, but not Dylan. And
same here, man.
All this sort of sacrilege, but I, you'd hear the legend of Bob Dylan was like that he was that when he went electric, everybody lost their mind and stuff. And Martin Scorsese made like a Dylan. It was like a 2-part Dylan documentary, kind of like the George Harrison one he did. And so the first one takes you all the way up to like his sort of apotheosis of that sort of just guy with a guitar kind of like folk kind of thing. It takes you all the way up to like the height of that. And then, the electric thing must have been such a shocker.
It's like, why is everyone getting? It's like, wouldn't you want to see this guy with a full band? Like that would have been like that.
Yeah, just do what he does. I mean, it was it's interesting looking. Like all that stuff seems kind of quaint.
Because I heard it was at like the Newport Folk Festival. That seems like a cool event to attend. I would always want to check that out.
Yeah, I mean, I can see parallels in comics, because comics there's a lot of like tradition and sort of like, well, this is just the way things are done. And so one of them is like, going from paper to electronic. Now that was a while back that people started making that transition, but that was kind of a thing. Like for me personally, it was like I reached a point where I decided to stop inking my work and to just create like finished pencils and then print from the pencils. That was a big aesthetic transition for me. So, and again, I got some pushback. There were some people who were like, "When are you going to start inking again?" So that's my version of me putting down the ink and picking up the pencil was like my version of Dylan goes electric.
When Dylan finally gets the chair, they're electrocute him. They're like, "Looks like Dylan went electric."
Yeah, I'm sure there's a Mad Magazine thing, cover or something of that. Like Dylan goes electric.
He's like, after his electric phase, his like country-ish phase.
Right. Yeah. And there's like Lay Lady Lay.
Yeah,
I'd heard that song all the time when I was a kid, and I had no idea it was Dylan until I was maybe like 20 years old. Like, because I thought it was the guy who sings the A-L-L, that's all, the stain lifter, that's all. Like, I thought it was that guy. Lay across my big breast. That's what.
Dude, the ALL song. I thought no one's voice could be deeper, because I would be little. I try to get it down to that. I'm like,
nobody fights the stain lifting power of ALL. Oh, that's all. Really. I just washed my sheets on my big brass bed with ALL.
The frequency that causes people to shit their pants, to execute it, we have the ALL singer.
I know there's like gems sort of scattered here and there. And the Santa Claus song, I mean, who doesn't love Santa Claus?
Christmas in the Heart later from like his Christmas album. Like, I'm with you, Tom. I'm like a tier below your Bob Dylan like mega fans.
Okay, yeah.
Like I love but I'm actually I'm appreciating his stuff more now than I ever did.
Yeah, me too. Maybe it's just part of like growing up or something. But because I always thought he was overrated. He was one of those guys.
Same
I just
here.
heard he's the greatest, and it's like, okay, well, I'd rather be listening to the Beatles. This guy.
I said the same thing.
This guy just he drones. I've been listening to all these Bob Dylan songs, and my wife was saying, she's like, is he because she doesn't know anything about Dylan, she doesn't care about Dylan. She's like, is he known for like all of his songs sounding exactly the same? Like, is that a Bob Dylan thing? Like are his songs supposed to? I'm like, no, like, and I kind of get what she's saying.
Yeah, in his country phase, you got like John Wesley Harding. Nashville Skyline.
Yeah, Nashville Skyline's the Lay Lady Lay one. I have that album.
And he got the Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
But I am planning on pulling an album from maybe that like section of his career and listening to it while I'm walking through like an empty cornfield while the snow is falling. But I'm gonna be wearing orange so as not to be stricken down by a hunter's bullet. But like I'm feeling the Dylan vibes this.
Matt, are you going country?
I'm going country. I'm gonna walk through like harvested cornfield with the snow blowing.
When we reviewed Napoleon, like I know about as much about Bob Dylan as I do about Napoleon. So in this Bob Dylan movie, it's like maybe somebody who knows a lot about Bob Dylan are just completely annoyed by like all the inaccuracies and all, because a lot of it was kind of like, oh, I didn't know that about Bob Dylan. So it's like I don't know how much bullshit is in it that might drive like a super fan crazy. But since I was sort of blissfully ignorant, I was just loving this ride.
I wouldn't be able to pick out any like inaccuracies. So I'm excited to see it. James Mangold. We just saw him in directing Dial of Destiny. And Timothy Chalamet. Like, he's got the chops and the look.
He's knocking them out. What a run of movies, this guy. He's playing all the icons.
And I also saw Bob Dylan's son, Jacob Dylan,
okay,
in concert too.
Separately, they didn't like perform on a double bill.
No, it wasn't double bill, but it was a strange concert. This one was within the last 10 years or so. I'm nonplussed, and he seemed to he preferred to play covers of Tom Petty.
He's a true artist, like his dad. You do like what you're feeling.
And Dylan cashed out not too long ago. He did sell
his catalog. Yeah, you had a better chance of seeing Dylan a few years ago, but now there's this hit movie, so people like me are coming out of the woodwork wanting to check it out. Yeah, see him.
He was great, and
what was he? Because if you go to see Bob Dylan, here's what I picture being. It's like I picture that. It's like you're just going to see. Oh, there's Bob Dylan. You're not going there for some kind of musical experience.
It was closer to what you're saying.
Okay.
I mean, I could hear the.
And just that. What I think of it being like Lou Reed's Metal Machine music, where it's almost like he's trying to get you to turn off your stereo.
He wasn't that antagonistic.
That's what it seems like to me. It seems antagonistic, but I don't know.
He seemed into it, but the way he was singing, he did acknowledge his other band. He was it was more the lower register.
Because that's the beauty of Timothy Chalamet doing the Bob Dylan stuff. Because it's okay, here's. After the first couple of minutes of the movie, you buy that. Okay, this is Bob Dylan. You've made that transfer. It's you buy Anthony Hopkins as Richard Nixon. You just got to get into that groove, and then you're there. And then all of a sudden, you're getting a full performance of of these Dylan songs done sort of. Prime time and stuff. Timothy Chalamet was on Saturday Night Live doing Bob Dylan songs, and so it's kind of when's he coming to town? Let's go see that.
Dude, I would love to see.
Yeah, I watched it, and I wondered what he was gonna do, and I thought it was just gonna be sort of like a character piece. So he'd have the harmonica on his neck, and he'd come out and go, start singing, and the times they are changing. I thought it would be that. But he created new arrangements and kind of
that's awesome.
Beefed them up, made them more contemporary.
And I was thinking about just how crazy it is playing somebody in a movie. Imagine you're Jacob Dylan and you're there's some guy out there pretending to be my dad.
Yeah.
And like going on TV and getting awards for
Right,
it.
yeah.
And like there's a guy out there impersonating my father, and he's getting like people are like happy about that.
I wondered to what degree Bob Dylan's involved in this, because it's not like, a Bob Dylan production. It seems like they made a movie about Bob Dylan, and then maybe he gets a couple bucks from like them using his songs and stuff. But like, I didn't see his name in the credits. Maybe I missed it, but I can't recommend it highly enough. I had an amazing time seeing it. I would say, run, don't walk. It's a blast. It's just, so much fun, great music, the story, you follow the story. And then kind of a cool thing, there's a bunch of the scenes, like the Newport Folk Festival, all of those scenes look like they were filmed in Cape May, New Jersey, which is where I'd like go on vacation when I was a kid with my family. And like, cause I'm like, I recognize that hotel. It looks like Town Hall. There's this like big yellow building. And then there's like this, there's this like motel across from it that's like all red brick. And it's like, that looks like Cape May. And then I looked it up when I got home, and it's like, lots of New Jersey.
That's so cool.
Figured into it. That was kind of cool seeing that. Elvis, there was that like remix of A Little Less Conversation. Remember that?
Yeah.
Like that felt to me like they're introducing Elvis to a new generation of people who maybe like never gave a shit about Elvis and made this kind of, fun little song. And like, I wonder if there's something like that for Dylan, where it's like, somebody could like remix one of his songs and make it into some kind of dancey hit.
Yeah, like a club hit.
Did he ever do a disco album?
You know what, Tom? That is Tom, I was thinking the same fucking thing. And it was some of his stuff when it gets into like Empire of the Burlesque, his I was looking up Infidels.
Like it feels like it's impossible to have lived through that era and not have like
a Dylan disco. There was like 80s like disco-y kind of like light touches of that production bubbling up through there. So I was like, okay,
some Giorgio Moroder
kind of like
that kind of stuff.
Nothing like I wish it was to that extreme, but you could feel
some
era.
wah-wah, some
But that was a cool experiment. I was glad to go through those, and I'm like more appreciative of Dylan than I've been before in my life.
Ed Norton was Pete Seeger, and he was great because he was really playing like almost like a Mr. Rogers kind of.
He did Turn, I think. Mm-hmm. So I don't know too much about Pete Seeger. I just know he did a couple, like Where Have All the Flowers Gone, maybe. Mm-hmm. And he plays banjo, right? I think.
Yeah. I'm Tom Scioli, author of Fantastic Four Grand Design. It's back in stores now, back in print. And there's a new Fantastic Four movie coming out, so check it out. You'll get the full story of the Fantastic Four. You'll get the straight dope on the Fantastic Four, and also Godzilla's Monsterpiece Theater, which is in stores also.
I'm at Zeoli.
And we'll see you next time.
We'll see you out there when we go electric.
Yeah. The Total Recall show goes electric. For us, it was when we switched to a green screen background. It's like, when are those guys going to go back to not having green screen? The controversy that happened when we switched over to green screen.